Who needs college when you're cashing bets like a Wall Street trader? At least, that's what I told myself. I was making more on game days than I ever did slinging lattes part-time, so I dropped out with no backup plan or safety net. And for a while, it felt like I made the right call. Then the math kicked in, hard. So, if you've ever been tempted to go all in after a heater, or think you're one hot streak away from quitting your job, or hell, dropping out of college to go full-time, watch this first. Because I'm breaking down the 6 steps that took me from overconfident amateur to someone the books need to ban for winning too much. And it all starts with this common mistake. It kind of reminds me of a roommate I had who found a betting system online. He turned $100 into $300 in 3 days and thought he was the next Warren Buffett. So he then went on to bet the entire $300 on a UFC fight. And his guy got knocked out in 40 seconds. Guess what happened next? He retired from betting the next morning. So the moral of the story is, even if you have an edge, you can't guarantee a win 100% of the time. And if you're betting too much per play, your entire bankroll will no doubt get wiped out. That's why pros use units. They'll risk 1 to 2% of their total bankroll per bet max, because the goal isn't to double up overnight. It's to stay alive long enough to let the math work in your favor. So, if you want a system built around that exact approach, I put together a free step-by-step blueprint that helped me make my first $1,000. It'll show you how to find sharp bets on your own without the guesswork. That's why, if you're done donating to the books every weekend, hit the link in the description. It's free. Which brings us to step 2. And this is something that a lot of bettors find really hard to accept. Truth is, you will tilt. You'll hit a cold streak. You'll watch a game flip on a last-second turnover, and you'll question your system. But that's where 99% of bettors will start tweaking like a degenerate, which is the worst thing you can do if you want to grow your money. See, I've known bettors who've been on a 20-bet losing streak. Now, most people would have rage bet the next game or gone full conservative mode, but he didn't flinch. He knew that his edge was proven. He'd tracked his bets, knew his ROI, and trusted the long game. 30 bets later, he was up over 17 units. That's the difference between gambling and betting like a pro. So here's a simple framework you can follow if you want to stay profitable as a bettor. First off, avoid tilting at all costs. So if you feel yourself getting emotional, touch some grass or something. Next, be sure to track every single bet. You only need a simple Google Sheet, and you don't even need to do it from scratch, because you can grab the one I use. The link's in the description if you're interested. But it doesn't stop there. After that, you have to run a feedback loop. See what worked, what didn't, what did your model miss, and iterate fast. Believe me, system matters more than outcome. So, if your edge is real, short-term losses are irrelevant. Just stick to the plan. But you can't really have a solid plan if you don't understand the game you're actually playing. And that brings us to step 3. See, most people think betting is about picking winners, but it's not. Think about it like showing up at a Best Buy on Black Friday. You stroll into the store at 10 a.m. like a complete amateur, but everyone else camped out overnight like a bunch of tryhards and cleaned the place out. Now all that's left is an oven toaster no one wanted and a waffle maker with no plug. That's what it's like to bet last minute based on your own ball knowledge. The market's been open for days, and the pros have already taken the value bets. So what do you do now? Well, you've got 2 options. Either hit mispriced lines early, before the sharps and syndicates clean them up, or catch bad numbers late, when breaking news or the public pushes the line too far and a slow book hasn't adjusted yet. Now, if neither of those works for you, there's also a third option, which is to build a legit model that gives you your own edge. But let's be real, you don't want to be sitting there like a nerd, manually scrolling through 12 different sports books, squinting at lines like you're decoding the Matrix. I used to do that, and it sucked. But now there are tools that automate the whole thing, which takes us to step 4. These tools can scan all the books for you, compare the odds side by side, and flag when one sports book slips up and offers a good price. And there are a bunch of options out there, and they all basically do the same thing, so use whichever one you prefer. Personally, I use OddsJam, and it's like having a price shopping bot on steroids. But you can't just fire up OddsJam and blindly copy every plus EV play and expect to print money. That's how you end up betting Lithuanian ping pong and wondering why your bankroll's bleeding. The tool shows you potential value, but you still need to apply common sense. For starters, make sure at least 5 major books are offering lines on the game. If only 2 or 3 books are posting odds, there's a good chance the market isn't sharp yet, and that edge might be fake. The same goes for super niche leagues and weird markets. I'm talking about stuff like alternate spreads, obscure player props, or exact score bets. They can look like plus EV, but not many people are betting on it, so it doesn't take much money to move a line. It only takes one sharp to dump a big bet, and the number shifts. Just like that, your edge is gone. That's why it's not enough to just find good bets. You also have to track them. Yeah, I get it, spreadsheets aren't sexy. But if you're not logging your bets or your units, you're flying blind with no idea what's working and what's costing you. And that's why I built a bet tracker that does exactly that. And if you want to try it, the link's in the description. Now, this next step is crucial. Get this wrong, and you'll think you're winning until you check the scoreboard. And this is what I mean. The sportsbooks don't move lines for fun. They move them when real money comes in, usually from sharks with big money. Meaning, if you're constantly betting worse numbers than the closing line value, you're losing to the market before the game even starts. So let's say you bet Team A at minus 120, but the line closes at minus 110. That means the market didn't agree with your side, and over time, those differences add up. But if you bet at minus 110 and it closes at minus 130, that's a sign you beat the market and the closing line value. Now, you won't win every time, but over the long run, beating the closing line is one of the strongest predictors of profit. So start tracking it. Check the line when you bet and check it again before the game starts. And once you get the hang of it and actually start making profit, this might happen to you. Okay, let me explain. A few months ago, someone in our group got limited just 5 days after signing up with a new sportsbook. He was beating closing lines again and again. And the sportsbooks hate that. These nerds in suits are sitting behind supercomputers, running simulations. And when they realize you're taking their money, they don't send congratulations. They send the limit letter and cut off your account. Pretty harsh, but that's their way of saying thanks for playing. Meanwhile, LockDaddy69 can go 2-14 for 3 straight months, and they'll let him keep firing max unit nukes like it's nothing. Well, that's because losing is good for business. Every 6-leg parlay LockDaddy places helps fund the bookie's kids' private school tuition. So yeah, getting limited sucks, but it also means the system sees you as a threat. And that limit letter, it's your badge of honor. So don't take it personally. Instead, play smarter. And here's how. Diversify across multiple books. Use second accounts with family names. And throw in the occasional parlay. Don't be afraid to bet on a favorite team now and then, just to keep your profile messy. Because the goal is to stay under the radar long enough to keep extracting money from the syndicate. But most bettors don't even make it that far. They blow up their bankroll way before they hit their 6-month milestone. So if you want to see why that happens and how to avoid becoming part of the 95% that keep losing, click right here.